Hi everybody, it's Audrey. Welcome to day 10. I can't believe it's day 10. 2 more days left. Today I am doing a page using lots of products from ThermoWeb, and my guests today are Clarke, who has had a channel for a very long time and she does amazing pages, and Lorilei, and today's video is her very first process video. She creates gorgeous pages. I tried to encourage her to start a YouTube channel because I just love what she does. So go check out her video today, and Mari's too, and give them both some love. So I am working with, what am I cutting up there? Oh yeah, I have taken a mixed media sheet from ThermoWeb, which is kind of like an interfacing sheet. And this is a heavyweight sheet, and you can see my silhouette mat working up there in the top corner. And I am cutting out some snowflakes. And I'm going to layer these snowflakes over a background. And so for my background, I just took a piece of white cardstock, and I'm using a little blending tool and some Distress Oxide inks. I'm still learning with these inks. I don't have very much experience with using inks and blending and things like that, so I'm just kind of experimenting with this, but I love the way that these oxide inks react with water, so that's why I'm trying to use them. So I blended in some, what's the blue called, like peacock feathers? Yeah, and the pink is raspberry something, I think. And so I blended the blue one with the tool, and then the pink I'm just kind of smushing on. And I love how where the blue and the pink overlap, they make that gorgeous purple color. And so I thought that those colors were really pretty for a wintry page. So I have a little photo over there of my daughter building her little snowman on the very first snowfall of last year, November 20th. And enough snow to make a snowman. So I wanted to document that. So here are my snowflakes. So here's this interfacing sheet, and it cuts so beautifully on the silhouette. And it's like a fabric. I can't explain. It's very hard to explain what this is, but it's kind of like a fabric. If you sew, it's like a sewing interface, but it's a little bit thicker. There are two size sheets. There's weights of sheets. There's a heavyweight sheet and a lightweight sheet, and I use the heavyweight sheet here. The lightweight sheet it's a little bit more transparent. You can see through it a little more. And I'm just going to leave these white, but I love how these look against this background because you can see the shape of them, and they just provide a really nice texture. So in addition to those heavyweight sheets, I wanted to add a little pattern with some foil in the background. So I am using a stencil from the Crafter's Workshop, and this is the Deco Foil Transfer Gel. So it's kind of like a matte medium gel, but when it dries clear. So you can see it there. So it has dried, and I just scattered it, pieces of the gel. What's the word I'm looking for? Smeared gel in different random spots through the stencil in the background. And now I'm covering it with an opal deco foil. So this is it doesn't really look like, it's not gold, like shiny like a foil. But it has it's more opalescent, that's the word I'm looking for. So it's this really beautiful kind of swirly pink blue opalescence, the opal deco foil. So that's what I am covering the background with here. And I picked this stencil pattern because I thought it kind of looked like sparkles. And I love that. So look at that shimmer there. It's just so beautiful. And it's funny because during this whole process video, it's right in the light perfectly, and you can just see that sparkle and shine, and I just love what that does for this page. So I got the background all set. I'm going to go and add in my snowflakes now, and this is pretty easy to kind of place them on. And now I'm going to start embellishing. So I had gone through and picked out a couple different old product lines, and then I ended up going with the Snow and Cocoa one, which was last year's one from Crepe Paper. And I'm just going to start tucking in some chipboard, and I realize I'm out of frame a little bit here, and then move it over, and just start playing around with embellishing. And I love this line, this Snow and Cocoa line, because it's very wintry theme. It's not necessarily, Christmas or holiday. And this is actually my first layout during this season that isn't necessarily focused on Christmas, a Christmas activity. So this is more of a wintry page. So I'm just picking some things out. I don't want to add too much to the page because I want the background to really be highlighted, and the snowflakes that I have already cut out back there in the background. So I pick a little acetate that says "Let It Snow," and I love that you can see the snowflakes in the background through that clear acetate. And I had picked out a couple other, larger tags and stuff here, but again, it was kind of taking over and I didn't want to add too much. A little snowman was a must for this page, and it really looks very, very similar to the snowman my daughter made, so it was kind of perfect. And then I added a little polar bear over there to the right. I was originally going to keep this with the pinks and blues and kind of just go with that color palette, but I picked out the little puffy word that says winter, and I love the little bit of color that added in. So I have to bring some of those colors in other areas. So I find these little mittens, and they kind of pick up on the dark pink in the R of the word winter. And I'm going to have to find something else here. So I know there's a piece of pattern paper, which this was a scrap from a layout I must have done last year, and it has all the colors in it, and it was perfect. So just a little peek of those colors is, I think, all I need to kind of balance that out. And I like the way that looks there. And then I literally just dug in my bag from this collection and kind of picked out some scraps and tucked them behind my photo, and it worked. I keep all of my scrappy stuff organized by collection for the most part. Some of my winter things and Christmas themed things have all collected in one bag, but generally I organize things by collection. So I added a chipboard snowflake that was kind of that pretty aqua blue, and I added the little bird, but I take it off because it was kind of getting there's too many little animals and characters on this page. And then I'm picking off just some snowflake stickers and some more of the snowflake chipboards, and I pick off these little circles that are multicolored, and I think that they help bring in some more of the colors from the word winter and the little strip on the side. So there's a little bit of yellow in there, and that kind of aqua blue in this little light green. I put the little Christmas tree over to the right because that picks up on the green in the word. So yeah, I'm just trying to find things to help balance the color, and only, like I said, little subtle bits of color. A few label stickers, and I honestly don't do too much more and add too much more to this page as far as embellishments go. So a couple more puffy stickers. I know I'm going to stitch, but I have everything pretty much laid out how I want it, and I'm going to go back over and take everything off and stitch over the snowflakes. I'm just rearranging a couple of the labels here. I wanted to have the shorter word phrases at the top and the bigger ones at the bottom, so I just switched the orientation of the two. And now I'm going to start gluing. So I'm using my mixed media liquid adhesive and just adding my strips on there. I go back, I don't show this in the video, but I do go back and kind of rough up the edges of those pattern papers. And for the snowflakes, I'm also using the liquid adhesive, and I'm not gluing too securely. I'm not adding a ton of glue because I know I'm going to go back over and stitch over these snowflakes. So I'm just adding just enough to kind of make them secure while I stitch. I just love that background, that shimmer. It's so, so pretty. It's hard to photograph though, so I'm glad you can see it here in the video because the final pictures, it's really hard to see that shimmer. Okay, so I stitched over the snowflakes. I kind of just stitched 2 lines through each snowflake, just following kind of the pattern of the branches of the snowflake. I'm going to pop up my photo here with some craft foam. These are the little last scraps I have of my craft foam. I have to get some more. And I always put that on with tape because I find that the liquid glue tends to soak up in the craft foam. So I think that the adhesive tape works better, a tape runner. So I had a hard time gluing this down. This little acetate thing wasn't sticking very well. I considered going back over and stitching over, and actually I do. I don't show that in the video, and it's not in the final product, in the final picture, but when I was taking the picture, I noticed it was still popping up. So I went down and just did a little couple stitches over that acetate just to help keep it in place. I'm going to pop up these little mittens, which are super cute, and I have learned my lesson about gluing all of my pieces down, so even if things have a sticky back, I tend to go back and add some glue anyway, because a lot of these things, especially when you have a mixed media background or something with gesso on it. I don't have gesso on this page, but things with gesso on it tend to come up a lot off the page. So I always add the liquid glue, and that tends to hold it better in place. These stickers I'm going to kind of layer over the snowman a little bit. I love those colors. And I think that's about it. I add some journaling and my date on top of the photo. And anything else? Oh, yeah, sequins. Watch this disaster. This was a mess. Ugh, I spilled the whole thing of sequins all over the page. So I went through and picked up every single one of those little tiny sequins. Added some splatters of a seafoam, a little bit of green, and then I glue on each sequin individually, and I use my liquid glue. These ones were too small to use for glue dots. I usually like to use glue dots for sequins because sometimes they flake off with the liquid glue once the liquid glue dries, but I'm hoping that these ones stay on because they're smaller. So I just go add a dot of glue and pick up a sequin with my finger and kind of get it to stay in place. And there is the final page. So I love how wintry this looks, and I love the colors and all the different things going on here. The pretty foil and those really nice cut snowflakes from that mixed media sheet. So there's a good shot of the snowflakes and the foil. So that's it for today's page. Please go check out Mari's and Lorilei's pages and videos today as well. And I will see you tomorrow for day 11. Only a couple more days. Thank you so much for stopping by. Stay scrappy, friends.